What's going on, guys? Sickpid here, aka Meek, coming at you with another Draft League Presents. Today we're going to be going over Clefable. Alright, so I know that I'm going to catch some flack for this, but I think Clefable, in my opinion, I don't really like Clefable too much. I know it's a really good mon. I think, in my opinion, I think it's an afterthought tier 1. A lot of people like it. I see that it has it has some uses, and I've struggled with it before. But in my opinion, there's a lot of Pokemon that can get some coverage moves that just beat this guy 1v1. I don't think that it's, in my opinion, when I think of tier 1 Pokemon, I think of Pokemon that can take over the game, that want to claim 2 or 3 kills a game, that have that potential, and Clefable is just a tough one for me. I think it's hindered a lot by its stats. I'm going to say that this is in tier 1. I think it's one of the not some of the best ones. You can see that it's in 16 points here. I don't think it's worth 16 points. I think it's a 14-point mon, in my opinion. Yeah, I think it's a 14-point mon. I think it's, I mean, I would say, you know, Hydreigon's better. I would say Serp is better. Bulk to me is better probably. Ferrothorn. Azumarill is, I think, so much better than Clefable, but that's just, those are my opinions. So before I start talking about what Clefable does really well, I do want to say that I don't think it is one of the best Pokemon, and I don't think it's a round 1 pick at all. I don't think it's a round 2 pick. I mean, in my opinion, I think it's a round 3 pick if you haven't picked your tier 1. Or maybe if this is one of the last fairies and you've got your strong Steel and Dragon, okay, I could see Clefable going on that team. And I think it's more of a Glumon, especially now. I think it's a Glumon, but I don't think it's, you know, the strongest Pokemon that you'll draft in that draft. I don't think it should be. So that's just my opinion. Let's move on to why I have these thoughts, okay? So Clefable, fairy typing. One of the best typings in the game, just flat out. This and Steel, to me, are the best. And Steel, and the Steel typing, along with its resistances, beats the fairy typing, you know? So that really helps when you can beat another top tier typing. Now, Fairy in Gen 8 got a little bit better because a lot of these Fairy Mons get Mystical Fire, which can beat some Steels if they have like a little chip. But Clefable is an interesting one. Okay, so resistant to Bug Dark Fighting, so just the same thing. It doesn't have a dual typing, so it's literally, you know, the fairies. So Poison and Steel, obviously, has weaknesses, and then immunity to Dragon, right? So 2 great abilities. I don't think you're going to be using Cute Charm too much. I think Magic Guard and Unaware are really, really, really good. There's not that many great Unaware mons. I think Quagsire is the other one of note that I can think of off the top of my head. But let's talk about Magic Guard a little bit. So damage that is not, so it can only be damaged by direct attacks, except for, you know, Substitute, Belly Drum, Pain Split, and Struggle. So like when it damages itself, when it uses a move that allows it to damage itself, that goes through. Okay, because that helps with balancing the game. But Life Orb, you know, other things like that, that's damage that it's not going to take. So you won't know if it's Life Orb because it won't lose that 10%. So it can be pretty versatile. I mean, it's one of those versatile mons. But its stats really is the downfall, I think. We'll go Runaway really quickly. So any stat boost that this Pokemon, or that any stats lowering of this Pokemon doesn't affect it defensive wise. When getting hit with a direct attack, and then whenever a Pokemon, like let's say Volcarona Quiver Dances, that Pokemon stat boosts don't matter towards Clefable, if that makes sense. So if you don't really understand that, I would just read this a little bit better. But for the most part, stat boosts on your opponent's side don't matter. Stat boosts where it's decreasing for you also don't matter. So that's really how you beat a lot of setup sweepers. I mean, this mon's really good for beating setup sweepers with unaware. That can't hit it super effectively. If they can just hit it with like a coverage move, a lot of the time it's gonna, recover or soft boil stall them. So I think that's really good. Now let's get into the stats a little bit, because I think they're a little bit lackluster here. So you can see that there's no stat over 100, which is a really big problem with me. Okay, because I mean, mons that have higher stats are usually the better ones. Okay, Clefable is one of the only high tier picks that don't have at least 580. I think most of these mons have 580. Maybe Excadrill. But again, so all the Pokemon that don't have at least 580 or 570 or up stats, they usually have a gimmick. I think the gimmick here is Unaware and Magic Guard. I mean, that's the reason. And Fairy. So that's why it's able to be, that's why the stats don't matter as much. The coverage and the typing and the abilities is really what's good about it. So the ability to go offensive, it can go offensive with Life Orb, and not taking that 10% is really big with Magic Guard. Also being able to come in on Toxic Spikes. There's no poison, or you will be poisoned, but you won't be affected by the poison. You won't lose any health because Magic Guard. And then the ability to stop setup sweepers can really help it. The HP stats pretty good. The defenses aren't great. Spadef is pretty good, so it's a really good Spadef wall. But defense, it's going to be tough, especially because the coverage moves a lot of the time can really do a lot of damage, and this guy is not going to be hitting that much harder back at you without significant investment. So obviously Moonblast for the Fairy. Softboil is really good. Also gets Wish. Gets Trick if you want to run like a Sticky Barb Trick. That could be pretty good. That's like getting poisoned. Not badly poisoned, but just regularly poisoned. It's going to do about 1/8. It gets a lot of coverage here. Gets Stealth Rocks, gets Knockoff, so that's pretty good. This is like a Spadef set though. It says utility, but it's like a Spadef kind of switch in, to kind of force something out. Maybe some Dark types or some dragons. I could see that. Here's an offensive set here. Well, actually, this is defensive. Oh, so it's a Calm Mindset. So this is set up and win. So you're going to invest all you can into your defenses, which is 73. So, but you get a couple of Calm Minds off, and you're able to sweep some pretty good teams with Flamethrower and Thunder for coverage. That's pretty good. And soft boiled, I don't know how many. So it gets 10. So it's 16. You can soft boil 16 times before you run out of PP. So that can really work, and you can probably get 4 or 5 Calm Minds off and then win the game. If you don't have anything that can really hit you super hard, like maybe like a Choice Banded, whatever, Choice Band, Poison Jab, Choice Band Steel move, things like that probably do a lot of damage to you, and you probably won't be able to survive. But if you can take out that check, then the offensive build would really work really well. Here's like a defensive switch in here, so you got Teleport, Wish Protect. So you can Wish up and then teleport after you force that thing out. After you force your opponent's Pokemon out, you can teleport, get a slow teleport off, because it's negative priority, I'm pretty sure. That -6 priority, so you would even go after, Trick Room, for instance. And then you can bring in something, one of your wall breakers to really break through the rest of the opponent's Pokemon. With a fat Wish, with that 95 HP. So that's a pretty good Wish set. Pretty good. I mean, you can obviously change these EVs because it's Draft League, to survive whatever you need to survive, and then invest the rest in the Spadef or whatever you need. So let's go over the coverages. So what's great about Clefable is, it while it is in Generation 7, it's also already in the game for Gen 8. So that's great because it gets a whole lot of new toys without even, depending on the league. Sometimes it won't get those toys, sometimes it does. A lot of the times Clefable will already have the new toys in. So that could be really good. Let's go over it pretty quickly because I do want to talk about quite a few pairings with Clefable. So we got Aromatherapy. I'm pretty sure it gets Heal Bell. Let's just go back. Yeah, okay, so it gets Heal Bell, so I don't think Aromatherapy is better than Heal Bell. Other than Aromatherapy, let's say if Coma O's in, which if Coma O's in, then you'd probably Moonblast in, but regardless, Aromatherapy can heal everybody's status conditions, while Heal Bell against a soundproof Pokemon would not be able to affect. So it wouldn't work. So Aromatherapy, kind of niche, could work. Baton Pass is interesting. You're almost always going to want to teleport, but it has merit if you want to go like another coverage move here, Cosmic Power. If you want to Cosmic Power and then bring in Belly or Baton Pass and then bring in Selly or Celesteela or one of a really tanky mon that has a nice HP stat could really tank a couple of hits. So again, Blizzard, you're not running Belly Drum too much, but it could have merit. It doesn't get any priority moves that I'm aware of, but for some heat sets, maybe that could work. I'm not sure. Body Slam's okay. Brick Break for screens. Calm Mind, of course. Charm can work pretty well as a defensive switch in. You switch in, you Charm, and then you Soft Boil up. Cosmic Power is pretty good. Counter's really good actually. That's not even heat. Like that's a really good defensive set. Let's see here. Covet's interesting. Curse is... Nah, you're not going to use Curse too much. It gets Dazzling Gleam. You're always going to use Moonblast. Let's see here. Detect. Run Protect. Draining Kiss could be interesting. Plus, that's a lot of healing for Draining Kiss. 75% of the damage dealt. I know Comfy, makes his money off of Draining Kiss, so that's pretty good. Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know it gets Dual Wing Beat. Encore's really good, actually. I had somebody run an Encore set when I was trying to set up with Lucario right in front of him, and they Encored me, which was really good. Gave him a free switch. So I've seen that used firsthand, and Encore's really good. Endeavor could be interesting. Fake Tears is great. It's like, Fake Tears is pretty good. Lowers the SPDF. Gets really good fire moves here. So you can see Fire Blast, and I'm thinking he gets Mystical Fire down there, but I won't scroll down right now. But really strong fire moves. If you're feeling lucky, go for Fire Blast, or if you need the extra damage. And then here's your 100%. Fling, Follow Me for the doubles. It's pretty good. I think Clefairy's better, probably, but still has merit. Still has usage. Grass Knot's really good for those water ground moves. Heal Bell's good. Healing Wish is good. Here's Heal Pulse for those doubles. Ice Beam is really good coverage. Also good Icy Wind for those doubles. Iron Tail knockoff is awesome. Light Screen, so it gets screens. Let's see if it gets reflect. Okay. Magic Coat, really good move. Really good move. You can see that Clefable's a really great utility mon. And it's able to do a lot. So I think that's why a lot of the time it's rated so highly. And you need those utility mods, whether it be Whimsicott or trying to think of some other ones. I mean, obviously there's Clefable. A lot of good Pokemon go really highly because of their utility capabilities, and that's a lot of the reason why you're going to be drafting Clefable. I'm more of a offensively inclined player, so I want my utility Pokemon to also be really offensive while also being have good use utility wise. I think one of the only Pokemon that I do use that is just really strictly utility is Whimsicott, and that's because of Prankster. I mean, Prankster's just a strong ability. But regardless, let's keep going over the moves. So Magico's really good. Those are for bouncing back those hazards, Toxic, anything like that. Meteor Mash is really interesting. I did not even know that it got this. And I didn't know it get Meteor Beam either. Wow. That's actually really interesting. The OG Metronome Pokemon. Well, I guess Clefairy, but pretty good. You can't use Minimize in draft usually. Misty Explosion could be interesting. Setting rocks, Misty Explode, stop rapid spin from going off. Let's see here. Moonlight's interesting. You're always going to use Soft Boil, I think, because you get 16 PP with that. Here's your Mystical Fire. This is a new fire move, and I think it's really, really strong. The only thing that you really lose to is physically inclined Pokemon, because obviously you want that special attack bonus, or that lowering of their special attack. That's the only reason that you would run this, or maybe Flamethrower, for instance. Gets a physical fairy move, not too good. Psychic's really good. Psyshock, it gets Psychic and Psyshock, which is good. You know, if you want to hit especially defensive and then physically, that's pretty good. Recycle's interesting. Rest, that's pretty good. Let's see here. Safeguard, pretty good move. Shadow Ball, so good coverage. Shockwave with Electric, but you have Thunderbolt here and Thunder down here. Sing, Soft Boil. Here's your reliable recovery. I think this is the best recovery that it gets is Soft Boiled, in my opinion. Yeah, Stealth Rocks here. What does Spotlight do? Target foes moves are redirected to it this turn. Okay, so that's, you know, follow me essentially. Okay, weird. Okay, Stored Power. Stored Power is an interesting heat set with like a Calm Mind or maybe even a Cosmic Power that could really start putting in some work. So you just Cosmic Power and then, you know, Soft Boil, and then run Stored Power and then maybe a coverage move if you need it. So that could be really interesting. That's a pretty good set. Let's see here. No. Okay, yeah, Toxic. Trick. Yeah, Trick can be a really good set. Wish, Work Up, Zen. Yeah, so Zen gets water moves. Does it get another water move that's stronger? It does not. Okay, so... Oh, Bubble Beam is a little bit stronger than Water Gun. Okay, so to finish off my kind of evaluation of Clefable, stupid great utility. One of the best utility mons in the game. I think its offensive presence is a little bit lacking, its speed is a little bit lacking, its defensive prowess is a little bit lacking, but it's succeeded in a lot of people's drafts. I don't know that I've seen a lot of people win leagues with Clefable. I mean, maybe that's just my personal experiences. You know, I haven't seen anybody use Clefable like crazy great. I've seen it win games before. I've definitely been beaten by Clefable, but I don't think it was a large contributor or something that I was always scared of. You know, I think slapping on a coverage move with one of your stronger attackers can really just put this guy away. You know, or I mean, a lot of the time, even if it's offensive, it gets one shot. If it's not offensive, it's not going to one shot. You know, so I think those stats really hurt it a lot. And make it a lot less usable, especially for me. I don't think I'll ever draft Clefable. But, you know, if it gets to, you know, if it's a tier 2 or tier 3 Pokemon, yeah, I definitely would probably take it. So we would have to see. I don't know that it would ever make it that far down because of the wide usage that everybody likes this Pokemon. You know, I'm one of the only people that don't really like this Pokemon too much, and I know that I'll get some flack from it because it's so widely used and a lot of people find a lot of success with it, but for me, I don't like it. It's not that good to me. To go over some pairings with Clefable, so Fairy typing, easy way. You get a you get a Steel, or you could get a Fire Pokemon, or you could get a Ground Pokemon. A Ground Pokemon really works well with this because it is super effective against both of its weaknesses. So Poison and Steel. A lot of times you can get, Zygarde 50 would be really nice because things that would regularly be like a coughing or like a wheezing, that's floating, or a Steel type that like Celesteela or something would avoid those ground type attacks. You'd be able to fire off those spammable 1,000 arrows, and you wouldn't have to care about it. And then once those guys are gone, this guy can come in, and if he's an offensive variant, put in some work. Okay. Or even just set up if he's, like a Calm Mind set, or maybe that Cosmic Power, Sword Power, that could work too. But he's got a great utility. I mean, I went over, I don't know how many moves, of utility moves that could really just help your draft overall. I mean, you have your cleric, you have your fairy, you have your wish passer, you have your just utility moves. So Clefable is really good in that role. I don't think he can go into an offensive role very, very often. I mean, the checks would have to be very limited on the team for, in my opinion, for it to be an offensive variant. I don't think it can be an offensive variant every single week. It's not something like Lopunny or Kira Black or Mew that can just absolutely go offensive every single week and it'd be okay. Mew, I think, that could be argued that a lot of the time it's going to be better defensively, but I don't think Clefable can be offensive every week. I don't think it will, but to conclude, I think Clefable is the top 40 Mon for me if Megas are involved. I think it's top 40. I don't think it's very high, very good round 1 pick. I don't think it's a good round 2 pick. I think it's, like I said, round 3 plus pick. No more than 6. No sooner than 3, in my opinion. I think it would be your second tier 1. I think there's probably a little bit more value in your tier 2. In your tier 2 Pokemon than a Clefable. But there's not a lot of great fairies, right? And there's definitely no fairy that does what a Clefable can do every single time. I think it is one of the strongest fairies, but it is limited. It is limited in its offensive prowess. So if you're okay with taking a defensive fairy, then the Clefable is really, really good. It's one of the best defensive fairies, in my opinion. But for my fairy type, I like it either straight utility or super offensive. So Clefable to me is not either one. He's kind of a middle kind of guy. He wants to do a little bit of both, and I don't know if he can. It's really tough to EV a Clefable in a way in which it can do both. It can be a really good utility and be really good at attacking. And I think that's it from me on Clefable. Comment if you wanted to see a different mod or you want me to go over something. Again, if you have any questions, let me know. And that's really it from me. So that's Sickbid, aka Meek, and we'll see ya tomorrow.